Hi cottage friends, this is Lorna with Cottage Necessities, your host today, and thank you for joining me, and thank you to all the new subscribers. I wanted to just get on here and say that if you're thinking of starting a crazy quilt hobby, there couldn't be anything more fun and more rewarding when you get a good crazy quilt square made. Here's a few tips for you to think about before you get started. It's a pretty big commitment, and it's a lot of fun. I remember my grandma making crazy quilts when I was a kid, and she had 50 grandkids, and she made every one of us a crazy quilt out of fine whale corduroy, and then she backed it with flannel. So I hope you like this video. It's kind of long, but I put in at the end so you can stop watching if you get bored, but I did show you some fabric stash that I got, kind of an unboxing. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. Number one, a dedicated space. Number two, then you're gonna have to have storage for all the strips that you're making. Like I just found a bunch of napkins and at the thrift store and cut these up. Now I've got a whole group of those that I could put in a purple box or roll them up all together and make a bundle. But a dedicated place to store all the stuff. And then another tip would be to just have some old sheets that you can use for your background, and a ruby beholder. If you don't have a ruby beholder, you can use your filter on your phone. Just take a picture in black and white, so that blocking out the color helps you determine the values of light and dark so that you can know where to place your fabric. So here's one that I've done, and I've pretty much finished it. I've discovered that this kind of jersey knit I don't care for as much. And this kind of tapestry here is it's a thicker fabric, but I love the satins and I love these velvets. Now this one has little gems on it, and it was a little harder to sew over that. You got to worry about breaking a needle if you have that one. And then I started, so that one, this is going to be a pillow, and I have a couple of lighter places here, like here and up here, and I'm going to get some dark lace and probably overlay it on those areas, or do some extra embroidery just to kind of blend those in better. And then I made a smaller square, and this one is going to be a throw. Again, I used some of those knits with the velvets and the brocades, a little crewel work here, some upholstery fabrics, but there's a little bit of that shimmery velvet. And if you want to see my stash of fabrics, if you want to keep watching, I'll show you all these fabrics that I got. I ordered some from Etsy, and then my sister gave me a bunch. So, but I'm continuing to search and find fabrics that I can use in my crazy quilts, and I really prefer to work with these velvets and the brocades because they're just more Victoriana. I wanted to share with you some of the fabrics that I've gotten. I just posted a video about my sister who gave me a bunch of fabrics because I told her I was going to make a crazy quilt with velvets because I just think that they're so pretty, and I always like the dark, rich tone. She gave me a bunch of fabrics that I'm going to show you, and then I also ordered this big bag of scraps, velvet vintage fabric scraps from Just Be Purses on Etsy. So I'm going to show you some of these. I already had these squares made because I was doing some eco printing with plants, but I think these are going to be perfect. This is just an old torn up sheet, and these are going to be perfect for my crazy quilt squares. This one's like a tapestry. It's really pretty. Some of them are kind of furry. Got a piece of lace. Some are more like an upholstery weight. I've seen some of these in upholstery over the years. This is one of those fuzzy kind of tapestry style. Ooh, this is a shimmery velvet. It's kind of a stretchy velvet. And then this one, I know some people like to see fabrics and look at things, so I'm just gonna this is kind of an unboxing because I just got this in the mail. It's another fuzzy one. I think it'll be fun to start with one of these pieces. Look at that. It's beautiful, vibrant colors. Ooh, I like that one. Orange and green. Here's kind of a raised motif. Vintage crewel. Ooh, look at that. It's another velvet. This is kind of like an embroidered fabric. It's almost like a damask or satin. Oh, that's a nice strip of kind of a dusty green, olive green velvet. Oh, this is pretty. That's another velvet, printed velvet. And that's pretty much what I've been looking for, is I wanted a collection of some printed velvets that could be used on this. I'm going to make a crazy quilt throw to put on my sofa. This is like a sample, fabric sample. Here's a pretty pink piece. That could be fun. This is kind of a burnout sheer velvet. That could be pretty overlaid on something else. Look at that piece. It's a nice big piece. I like that. So I got all these scraps. When you see them all laid out like that, I spent about $30 for all that. And because I didn't have a real big collection for myself to get started, so I wanted to have that. I wanted to have some extra unusual pieces that might work. And now I'm going to show you what my sister gave me when I was in Oregon. She gave me a whole bunch of fabrics. She loves textiles like I do. This is a piece of a kimono fabric. And then here's a vintage embroidered piece of linen. Here's kind of a fancy fabric, kind of shiny. And then she gave me a bunch of these velvet Suffolk puffs or circles that I can kind of scatter around on my satin and velvets, and then put a button in the middle. or do some embroidery on those. And I just thought that I might scatter those around on different areas. Here's a pretty velvet. Look at that. Looks like it's tie-dyed. And then I got some of these. These can be stitched down. Some more circles. Love this green one. Oh, here's a pretty one. Pretty piece of the dark green jewel tone. I like that. That would be a good one to start with. This feels like silk. It's like a satiny kind of silk. Here's another sort of brocade style. Purple. Lots of these satiny kind of brocades. Those will be pretty too, to have a little shimmer. This is a piece of silk. This also looks like kimono fabric. That's very thin. I might have to really, well, it's going to be backed, so. Here's some satins. Oh, here's a nice printed velvet. There's kind of some shimmer to it. So I'll be doing, in a little bit, I'll be doing some demos. Here's a pretty blue one with making a square with some of these fabrics. Some more. This has some beaded detail on it. That could be fun to put in the center. Start one with it. I think I'm going to put that aside. And this is another kind of damask. More shimmer. Beautiful velvets. I love the greens. That's my favorite. And this is kind of a silky satin stripe. Oh, she gave me a lot of these sort of tie-dyed velvets. Those are beautiful. This one with some oranges. And there's some similar to what the other group of fabrics were. This is sort of an upholstery weight. And this one is interesting. Now this type, oh, this is like a very thick woven with some gold going through it. That is going to be pretty. My sister makes dolls and quilts and fabric collage. And she stays busy with doing things with, she makes doll clothes. So we're going to have some fun with some of these, making our crazy quilt squares. And that's from Just Be Purses on Etsy. Some of them, and the rest of them are from my sister Chris. Kiki, be sure to watch her video.